This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start today's session. So in the last session of Python, we were discuss about file handling. So we have seen how to create zip files, and today we'll see that working with CSV files. Okay, so CSV files means comma separated values, and we have just given introduction in the last session. So CSV file, how to work with CSV file, what is CSV file? To work with CSV file, you need to import a module called CSV module. CSV stands for comma separated values, and CSV is a simple file format which is used to store the data in tabular format. So CSV files stores tabular data like plain text format only, and each field need to be separated by comma. That's what we can call it as. It's a comma separated values only. For working with CSV files in Python, there is a built-in module called CSV module. We have to import it and use it. And generally, in the CSV context, to write the data into CSV file or read the data into read the data from CSV file, we use some separate methods. Normally in text files, we use what? Write method for writing the data. And also we use what? Read method for reading the data in the context of text files. But in the context of CSV files, we use writer method and reader method. Okay, what methods? Writer method and reader methods we have to use. Writer method as well as reader methods. Both methods are there. Writer method means to write the data into CSV file. This method is to write the data into CSV file. For this purpose, we use writer method. And to read the data from CSV file, to read the data from CSV file, we use what method? Reader method. To read the data from CSV file, we use reader method. To write the data into CSV file, we use writer method. These two methods are difference methods in CSV file especially. So here, writer object also we have to create. W equals to writer and R equals to reader. W is the writer object and R is the reader objects are here. These objects are required. Writer and reader objects here. Okay. So these objects through we can able to store the data and retrieve the data possible. And moreover, these writer and reader methods are present in which module? CSV module. First, on the top of the program, we have to import CSV, and here we have to use CSV dot writer, and here CSV dot reader. CSV dot reader. W equals to CSV dot writer, and R equal to CSV dot reader. Okay, this is. So to write the data into CSV file, we use this mechanism, CSV dot writer method. To read the data from CSV file, then we use CSV dot reader. These two are objects, writer object and reader object. First, we'll see how to write the data into CSV file step by step. So first, CSV file will store the data into table format, sir. Strictly remember how CSV file can store the data means in table format only. CSV file is going to store the data in which format? Table format. Okay. And also that CSV file store the data in Excel sheet only. CSV file will store the data into Excel sheet. So after storing the data into CSV file, we will see that Excel sheet format only it will stay. That is Excel sheet means comma separated values. Let's see this how to write the data into CSV file. Two programs I'll discuss. So one is for writing the data into CSV file and reading the data from CSV file. So go to new and Python file. Let's see this file 13 is the new program. Now to import CSV, it's common, comma separated value, import CSV, the common. Import CSV is the file. Import CSV, comma separated value. Next, with function, with statement I'm using. With statement means what? With block it is. This is the block of code, sir. You know already with statement in files. When we use with block, automatically file gets closed after completion of your file operation statements inside the with block. So that's what we are using with block. And open is a method. And which file name you want, you can give that. But make sure that we are working with CSV file. Compulsory extension should be CSV only, .csv. Our file name is emp.csv, comma separated values. So this is extension of my file. To write the data into CSV file, which mode is required? Again, write mode only, simple. As f is a file object, at last we have to use file object name. So with is a keyword, open is a method, emp.csv is a file name. This is CSV file name. Comma dot comma w is the write mode it is. As is a keyword, f is a file object. Fine. So to write the data into CSV file, first we need to create writer method and writer object also. So w equals to CSV is a module name, dot writer is a method name. Where do you want to write in f? F means file. W equals to CSV dot writer of f only. So this is writer object equals to CSV module name dot writer method of f. So W equal to CSV dot writer of f only, file object. So here to store the data into CSV file, first I need to write some columns. Columns means like employee ID, employee name, employee address. Like that you can able to include some column values also here. So on the top of the CSV data, I need to arrange the data into table format. So that's what I'm using, right row only. So now you can see w dot write row is a method. Write row is a built-in method of CSV module. W is the writer object. Using this write row method, what we have to use? Simply uh, square bracket inside, because multiple columns we are using, employee ID, employee name. You can see employee address, employee age, employee age like this. Okay, this is we are using. Or employee salary also you can do, not a problem. So employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee age. These are the employee columns. Also we are writing into CSV file, that is row heading. So once row heading is over, so I'm asking to the user, like user can decide how many number of employee details he wants to enter. How many number of employee details he wants to enter, he can decide that. So that's what I'm giving option to the user only. So let enter any number of persons records, like I'm just accepting input values at runtime n equal to int of input of enter number of employees. Okay, enter number of employees. So that user will decide the how many number of employee details he wants to enter. He can enter that. That number stored in n variable. For example, if I give my input is 5, that is 5 value will be stored into n variable only. N equals to int of input of enter number of employees. So according to this n, we have to accept one by one value from the user, like employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee age. So you know that whenever we store the number of values here, that many iterations if you want, you can use for loop. So I'm using for loop for okay, I in range of N means number of employees. So if I enter 5 is my input value like n value, then 5 number of values I have to enter for I in range of n. So now every time in every iteration I have to accept employee ID equals to from runtime employee ID entered by the user. I can ask that enter employee ID, enter EMP ID. Okay. Next what next? Ename equals to then input of enter EMP name like this. Next e-address equals to input of e-address, ename or string format. So that's what no need to convert into integer. Directly we can use enter EMP address. Finally enter employee age. Age equals to it is integer format input of enter EMP age. So like this. These are just asking the input values from the user, and the moment when we ask the input values from the user and it's stored into EID, ename, eAddress, EAge like this for I in range of n, this many iterations I want. Finally, what data do you want to store in this emp.csv means already I have stored into CSV file headings, column headings, aligned with column headings, these details, whatever we entered that will stored into this. These values I have to add into CSV file. To do this, w dot write row again inside the square bracket. These values we have to pass EID, ename, eAddress, EAge or storage values from the user inputs. These values I am going to supply. So EID, ename, eAddress, then EAge like this. Okay. So now w dot write row is a method. EID, ename, eAddress, EAge like this. Finally, I have to say print employee data return to the CSV file. Employee data return to CSV file, I can say that. This is actually storing the data into CSV file, comma separated values. So one by one value we are accepting from the user, and that values we are going to store into CSV data with name called employee.csv. So first line is with statement. We are using this file name emp.csv. W mode means we are writing the data into CSV. As F means file object. W is the writer object. CSV.writer method. This is F only. File object is there. W dot write row is there. W means writer object. Row write row is a method. I'm using column headings. At the same time, I'm accepting number of employees details from the user. Okay. And for I in range of n, that many number of employee details I'm accepting. And these values I'm storing into CSV file with object W only. But one small change I need. So look at this. I'm going to give this new line attribute here finally. So why new line attribute without space I'm giving in the sense if I don't use this new line attribute, every record after some line gap is there, that is space will come. To avoid that space, then just you can use new line. New line equals to what we can say empty uh, codes. New line equals to empty codes. Then there don't be any space between each and every record. Okay, so that's what I'm using new line equals to single quotes like this. Fine. Now let's start execution. We don't have any emp.csv file located in your files. Directly I'm using run file 13. So we can see this. Enter number of employees. You can decide how many number of employees data do you want to save into CSV file. Just I am giving 5 employee details, 5 employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee age. Again employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee age. Again employee ID 3, employee name, employee age like this. Employee ID, employee address, employee age. Now final employee ID is 5, employee name is what? Ganesh, employee address is HYD, employee age is I'm giving like this. 5 employee details are written to the CSV file one by one. Each and every record I have updated into CSV file. So where is the file? Actually CSV file means this is emp.csv file is created. Then double click on emp.csv. Now we can see this. Right now in this pie this CSV data is representing for every field is separated with comma. Now every value also separated with comma. Comma symbol is there. Fine. But actually, uh, if you see this same file into physical location means what? This location where your project is available in E drive Python full stack 7 a.m. In this physical location, if you see this, then you will be able to see this here. You can see this PC, and now in this physical location, Python and Python full stack 7 a.m. is your folder name, project folder name. And now you can see emp.csv. This is Excel sheet CSV file only. When we place mouse pointer over there, you are seeing like Microsoft Excel comma separated values file. Microsoft Excel comma separated values file. Double click on this EMP. We got this Excel file data in the Excel sheet only, CSV data only, EMP ID, e-name, e-address, e-age. What data we have updated with the name EMP CSV, Excel sheet is created. So this is the way to upload or store the data into CSV file by using this technique here. Okay, we are writing the data into CSV file by using W mode only. That's what here emp.csv. This is W mode. Next, same way we need to retrieve the data from CSV file. So for that we need to use what object? Reader object, or equals to CSV dot reader method. To read the data from CSV file, we use this reader method, and we use this reader object also, or equal to CSV dot reader, to read the data from CSV file clearly. How to see, how to do this, how to read the data from CSV file, we'll see this. Okay, let's see. To read the data from CSV file, we use another program like this, and make sure that for reading the data from CSV file, your file should be there. Okay, your CSV file should be there. If file is not there, then you will get file not found error exception, obviously. So compulsory file is required, sir, to read the data from CSV file. Okay, let's run this. Let's go to create a new Python file, that is file 14 I'm giving, and here I want to read the data from CSV file. To read the data from CSV file, generally what we are using, just compulsory module is required, again CSV file, and I'm creating f equal to file object, it is open method as usual, and you have to mention the file name from which file you are trying to read the data. CSV dot what actually, sorry, emp dot CSV we are using, emp dot CSV. F is a file object, equals to open is a method, then emp dot CSV is the file name only, sir. emp.csv is the file name, and comma. So we are trying to read the data from CSV file, then which mode is required? Read mode is required. That's it. So f equals to open emp.csv read mode. But who we need to create reader object also, no? Yes. R equals to, and don't say this R and this R is same. No, it's different. This R is a mode of the file, read mode. This R is my reader object. Okay. F dot, sorry, R equals to, so here to read, we need to use reader object. Create reader object, CSV is a module name, reader is a method name, CSV dot reader, and print R. That's it. Finally, F dot close method I'm using after reading completely. Now this time you can notice this. The moment when we try to read the data from CSV file, okay, so we that after completion of reading, data is present in reader object R is an object actually. Print R. So R is what? Object data. Look at this. The moment when we run this, we are reading the data from CSV file. Oh, what's going to be happen? You can see this. Expected at least one argument. Absolutely. Because reader method inside I have not provided from where you are reading. F is compulsory here. F means file object. From this emp.csv only we are reading now. That's what here csv.reader of F is there here. Let's run this. Now you can see this, the reader objects are underscore csv.reader object at 0 into 0 0 0 something. This is called object only here. What object here? This is object 0 into triple 0 double 0 is there. This is reader object at. Right now in this object our CSV data is there, but how to display this CSV data object data means. So let's try to convert this into list format. That reader object data I'm converting into list format. The moment when we convert this reader object data into list format, then automatically it will display list only. Now you can see we got this list object, EID, ename, address, age. So this is one list. Column headings are available in one list, and each record also present in another list. Look at this, one more list are created. Each and every list is separately created here. So this is the list objects are available. Fine. But I don't want to display this data into list format. So I need to extract each and every value from this nested list. Actually, this is nested list, sir. A list within the list. Look at this, two square brackets are started, two square brackets are ended. That means what it is? Nested list. A list which is having one more list within it is called nested list. We can say that. Okay, this is the nested list object here. So how to extract these values from the nested list means simple. So we need to use nested loop only, nested for loop. Okay, suppose for I'm taking before that what I need to do, we have already directly printed this list of R, but instead of print a list of R, I'm storing this data into separate variable. Data equals to what I'm trying to do, list of R, list conversion of R only. I'm printing data here. Now this time same. Okay. Look at this. This is very simple code. CSV importing, and I'm creating file object, open method through. emp.csv is what actually file name. Read mode is this, and R object I created reader object. CSV.reader is a method. From file only I'm reading the data and stored into reader object. This reader object data I converted into list and stored into data. We are printing data. This is list data. But my plan is this list data I need to extract it and I need to arrange into table format. To extract this data and arrange them into table format, we use loop concept. Why? For loop concept. So normally we have a list means we can use single for loop. If you have a list means we can use single for loop. But we are having nested loop, nested list. For single for loop, I'll use what will happen for a. What we can say R means rows in data. Data is our list only. From this list, I'm collecting one by one value. One by one value in this list means this is one value. Total record is one value. Inner list. One more inner list is one more value. Again, one more inner list is one more value like this. Then what actually print R? Print R. This time what we are extracting inner list into outside of this list. So we got this all list of values. So we are extracting this what? From this we are extracting one by one. This inner list is separating for loop through one value, one iteration. Next iteration, this I am extracting. So look at this. The result is look like. This is also each and every record is a separate list only. But now how I want to display? From this list also we need to extract values. So this ID, this ename, this address, this age, I need to extract it separately. How to extract it means one more loop we have to use. inner loop, that is. For C means column, in var R. Finally, we need to print what's R actually, C only. For R in data means what? This is our data, sir. Total data is this one. R in data means R value this one, inner list. Every iteration R value this one. In this R also, I am collecting what? For C in R, one more loop variable. C in R means C values means EAD, one C value, E name, E address, E age, or C values. When we print this inner loop, now we can see all the words are collected from this inner list. EAD is one, and E name is next line, E address next line, E age is next line. But I want to bring this EAD, E name, E address totally in one line. It's going to display into line by line. So how I can display means by using end attribute with space. So that end attribute speciality is what? End attribute will bring that output values in the same line only. It will not move towards the next line. So it's bring automatically in the same line end attribute I'm using. So the moment when we use end attribute, look at this, how it will be. So we have extracted these values from inner list. So but we are getting like EAD, E name, E address, E age like this. This is one inner loop is completed. But one inner loop is completed after all iterations. But next outer loop is starting with same line only, no? Same line. This I want to bring into next line. To bring this into next line, after completion of inner loop, just we can print into empty function, print function. So it makes next line only. Okay, this print function after completion of inner loop execution, I am just moving my cursor into next line by giving empty print function like this. So let's see this here, and I am just bringing this all lines into new line, EID, E name, E address like this. But still, do you want to arrange this into well structured format? So let's keep this end attribute, and every word after I need to give some tab space. So T I'm giving, T means tab space, and now this time it's makes simple. So it is clear table format, employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee age is mostly we are creating this one, correct. Now this time this data is not required. From this data only we are arranging by collecting the data each and every word separately for loop, inner loop through here. So we are getting this data from CSV file and we are arranging them into required format. This is called reading the data from CSV file like this. Okay. So this is about CSV comma separated values, how to store the data which is accepting from the user, and that we are storing into Excel sheet clearly. And even we have to discuss more things about CSV file. But at the time of data analysis part, like data analysis, pandas, matplotlib, numpy modules are there in upcoming session. In the analysis case, we will look into more about CSV data here. Okay, so this is CSV data clearly. Next, we need to discuss about binary files, sir. Binary files means what? So we have text files, we created GIF files, we created CSV files, and we need to look into binary files. Binary files means generally object data, we can call it as binary files. Okay, what data? Object data. So there is a concept in Python, that is pickling and unpickling concept, that under comes into object data only. So this concept is there, pickling and unpickling concept. Unpickling, pickling and unpickling here. So before going to start with this, I need to tell you one thing. So generally, we created in my previous lecture lot of object-oriented programming, and we create a class, and inside the class we create a constructor, and inside the class we create some methods also. Okay, we have created a lot of methods and constructor and all. The moment when I was created object for the class, through object I accessed all the methods, and whenever I call the methods, completely data is printed in the output window through object oriented programming class. But was that data saved anywhere, any other file location for further usage? Nowhere I was saved the object data into my computer. The moment when we execute the program, and that file, that data is going to be stored, and that once you come out from the program, that data will be loose. That means destroy. Now I want to store my object data permanently into my computer location or project location. In that context, we can work with binary data, binary file, because always object data is binary data only, sir. Here, always object data is binary data only. So binary file handling purpose or object data file handling purpose, we use a concept called pickling and unpickling. So what is pickling means? Simple. Pickling is the process of pickling is the process of uh, writing writing object data into a file process. Whenever we create object to the class, that object data, if you want to write into file, then this concept is pickling. Pickling is the process of writing object data into a file. Next, unpickling is the process of unpickling is the process of reading object data from file. You want to read that same object data from file, then we can give unpickling concept here. So unpickling is the process of reading object data from file, and pickling is the process of writing object data into a file. This is writing and this is reading. Both we can do this again. But if you want to work with pickling and unpickling concept, so there is a module, inbuilt module, that is module name is called pickle module. Modules are pickle module here. This pickle module we have to use it. And pickle modules contains two important methods, dump method and load method. To pickle the objects, we use dump method. To pickle the object, we use what method? Dump method. D-U-M-P, dump. Okay, pickle dot dump. Better we can use module name also. Pickle dot dump method we use, sir. To pickle the object, we use what actually? Pickle dot dump method. And to unpickle the object, we use load method. We use load method. P-I-C-K-L-E, pickle dot L-O-A-D, load method we have to use. Dump method is to store the object data into file. Load method means to retrieve the object data from file. So unpickling purpose we use load method, pickling purpose we use dump method. Okay. So unpickle the object. These two methods we have to use it. So let's see this how pickling and unpickling can be processed. It's very simple, sir. It's not a big deal. Let's see this. First, let me create a Python file. That is file 15 I'm taking. Here I'm trying to create a normal program like object-oriented program. Class name is employee. And as usual, employee is having constructor. I'm create constructor. Constructor is having some parameters, employee ID, employee name, employee address. Constructor with parameters are this is self dot employee ID equals to employee ID, self dot employee name equals to employee name, next self dot employee address equals to employee address. This is called constructor. And after constructor, we have a method also like display method. Do you want to display that employee methods differently? Then you can use all print functions like employee ID is then self dot EID. Next, what I'm trying to do, print employee name is then self dot name, employee address is three details I'm printing. Fine. This is normal object oriented programming. Already we discussed what we have in object oriented program. Let's create object for employee equals to employee. The moment when we create object to the class, who will execute? Constructor will execute. This is constructors are entities, not init. Okay, yeah. So constructor is executing. Constructor is expecting employee ID. We have to pass it. Employee name also we have to pass it. Employee address also we have to pass it like this. Next, we have to call the method called display method. So this is normal, sir. What we have seen in my previous session, like object-oriented programming, same code only. Run this file. So we got the information: employee ID 101, employee name, employee address. But my question is, did I save this data anywhere? No. Once we exit from this file 15.py other program, if I exit this data will lose. It's not going to save anywhere, I'm saying. Got my point? It's not going to save anywhere. So this is going to be lose the data here. Okay. But I want to save this object data. What data is on my object? This object data I want to save into separate file. In this context, we can use pickling. So to pickle the object, we use pickling code. Now you can see with file I have to open. So with I'm taking with block. So open method, and now I'm trying to store emp details, emp dot, but make sure that this is called dat file extension. You are going to pickle the object. So object data always stored into dat file extension only. Dat. Okay, dat is there. This is dat extension. Make sure that. Do you want, you can search into Google what is dot file. Okay, so what is dat file? So now you can see a dat file is a data file that contains specific information about the program it is used to create. Okay, any type of file we can able to store with dat file. So this is object data file. That's what I recommend to use dat file only, extension emp.dat file. So this is what object data, but moreover this object data is what file? Binary file. So that's what I'm using for writing binary data. I'm using mode is WB. So far we use only W mode, R mode like that, but right now I'm using WB. WB in the sense write binary data, as F is a file object. What is your file name? emp.dat file. To what data you want to store into this emp.dat file? Object data. Let's create object for our employee class, and we can pass the data like what data we have. Employee ID, employee age, like this. We are passing this object data into file. E is my object name. Then now you can see pickle is a module. If you want to pickle the data, compulsory we have to use pickle module. Import pickle. Pickle pickle module is required on the top. Now here you can see pickle pickle dot, what method is there? Dump method is there. What you want to store? Object I want to store. Where you want to store? F only. So pickle is the module name. Dot dump is the method name. Of is object data, because pickling is the process of storing object data or writing object data into file. What is file name? F object. F is a file object. That means emp.data. I can display clearly in the print message emp data. A pickling of employee object is completed. Pickling of emp object is completed, like that I have to say that. Let's run this file 15.py. Now employee data pickled successfully. And after that pickled successfully, where do you want to check? emp.dat file. Let's check this emp.dat file is there. You can see dat file extension, data file. If you want to open this dat file any format, you can open. But look at this. This is not in well structured format. This is dat file representation. For security, it's not going to show anything. Okay. So this is dat file extension. So this is the pickled data here, object data. But whenever you try to read the data from here, you will get normal text format only. That is unpickle. Unpickling also we will do. Now you can see unpickle with open. We are reading the data from dat file only, emp.dat file again. So unpickling purpose we use w what we can say RB. RB means read binary, as F only file object. And to read the data, then temporary object I'm creating obj equals to, and to read the object data from file means what method is there? Load method is there. Here dump method is used to pickle, means store the data object data into file. Load method is used to do unpickle, means to retrieve the object data from file. So after loading the data from this file f, and it will store temporarily this obj, we need to print that employee details perfectly. So data after unpickling, and to display the data, this object data, I am using help of this display method what I have represented in my program. That display method I'm calling. So just we can call what? Obj dot display here. Display is a method. This method I'm using the display method. So this is called unpickle. So pickling is the process of writing object data into file. So pickling purpose we use dump method. We are writing binary data. Unpickling is the process of reading the object data from file. Unpickling purpose we use load method. We are reading binary data and print data after unpickling obj.display. Fine. Let's run this. We got the output clearly. So now you can see pickling of employee object is completed, and data after unpickling also we get back this object data to us by using this display method. So this is the concept of pickling and unpickling, writing the data, binary data into file, reading the binary data from file. This is clear information. So that's all for today, and your next session will be on Monday, and Monday onwards you will be have the new link, and this link is expiring today night. It will not work uh, 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 anymore. So you can use the same link, sorry, you can use the new link from Monday. I will send a new link tomorrow Sunday night. You can check your mails and you can join on that link from Monday onwards. That link will work. Okay, this link is expiring today now. So see you on Monday session. Next session will be on Monday.